when people say, conspiracy theorists, when I mention, say, the World Economic Forum, did you know, folks listening, that Angela Merkel, President Macron, President Trudeau, Boris Johnson, Ardern of New Zealand, the guy who in Australia, I can't remember his name, and the list goes on and on and on. Every one of those, interestingly, has been through Klaus Schwab's Global Young Leaders Program. And Merkel was back in the 90s. These people are deep. They've been planning something like this by inference for 20, 30 years, possibly longer. But also the leaders of very many G20 countries are actually Schwab's men and women. And that's the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada is the deputy of the World Economic Forum. Go and look it up. I nearly fell over. So this woman is both the Deputy Prime Minister under Trudeau and she's Klaus Schwab's secretary. Don't you think that's a little bit of a conflict of interest?
When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. Mm-hmm. I'm with the president, who is a young global leader, but...
Question commentaire, questions and comments. The Honourable Member for Oshawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to my colleague's speech. I had a constituent that wanted me to ask a question about outside interference to our democracy. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has, quoted, infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. And I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know that the member was in a really good question there, but the audio is really bad and the video is really bad as well. And I apologize. I don't know if the member. Okay, let's try again. The honourable member for Timmins James Bay.
Mr. Speaker, that member was promoting open disinformation. That's not debate. We have to call out disinformation.
We'll get into debate again. The honourable member, questions and comments. The honourable member for Lambton, Kent, Middlesex.